Hope you're doing okay today. Just make sure everything's turned on here. And if you're not doing okay, if you're having one of those days that you just don't feel like it, not in the mood, agitated, frustrated, anxious, that's okay as well. Not a big deal. Sorry, I'm kind of looking all over the place. I'm making sure everything is turned off. When you go live, it just pop up, pop up, pop up, pop. It's like distracting, right? Shut it all down. And I'm noticing as well, they've got this, an upgrade version of Facebook here, which is, it's nice. I like it. But it's new, right? So it's a little bit different in navigating. So it took me a minute to like go live. I'm like, oh, my other dashboard, there was like live right on it. I didn't have to go into my turn leaf movement page. Although I was in it, it looks like I actually on the left hand column, it's like switch into onto the page. Before I didn't have to do that. And I'm like, oh, come on, I should have looked at this earlier, of course, and I'm blah blah blah. Anywho, I'm here. I showed up. It is Thursday at noon. Tough Talks with Turn Leaf Movement. With myself, Melissa. I am founder of Turn Leaf Movement. I come on here every Thursday at noon live to chit chat about anything and everything, allowing a comfortable and safe place for the collective to just be whoever they show up to be. And like I said, everybody's always like, I hope you're well and hope you're having an awesome day and hope it's like, and then when we ask people, it's like, sorry, I feel like there's a fuzz in my eye or something. Ask people, how was your day? Oh, it's good. Good day. Great day. And I mean, that's our autopilot going on. We don't want to, it's nobody's business. It's your private space. It's but like I said, I mean, if you're not having a good day, that's part of the human experience as well. That's part of it all. All right. And that's the purpose of Tough Talks here is I get into real life scenarios with parenting and marriage. I do my background is I'm a counselor with mental health and addiction. So, I talk about the good, bad, and the ugly. And so that's what I do every Thursday. It's not scripted. It's I may have a few pondering ideas that come and go within the morning or within the week. But chances are when I jump on, I do connect with my quantum energies here, my guidance, my angels. My higher self is a big one because the ego really likes to come out and play. The ego definitely takes precedence in a lot of our decision making, a lot of our relationships. And a platform like this, when I put myself out here, it's vulnerable. So my ego will creep in once in a while. And a lot of times it'll analyze what I've said. It'll analyze the content that I've delivered, my belief system, the worry, the head chatter, the worry bug of what will they think of me. But I'm getting pretty good at it these days to recognize when that part of me is coming in. And although it has its place, it definitely had its place in my upbringing and for you as well. Watch yourself when you're criticizing and that inner critic comes in, especially when you do have a role where people are listening, watching you, and you've got a message to deliver and a purpose to really put out there, like Turn Leaf Movement here. And we get stuck in the, am I saying the right things? And so what I have done here with Tough Talks is I was encouraged encouraged by my higher self because I call upon that energy quite frequently, was, create this time, this day, and absolutely just wing it. And that was tricky for me. That was pretty tricky for me. But and it goes to show, as I do reflect back on, even I did talk 10 for 30, which was 10 minutes 10-minute talks on particular. I was a little bit more structured then, because that's what the intention was to introduce. I launched Turn Leaf, I believe it was in November. So again, I got guidance. I usually get them in the morning. Was talk 10 for 30, and I'm like, oh God, what is this? And I typically, and I encourage others to do this as well. When you are tapped into your intuition, when you're tapped into yourself and being with yourself, and if you do co-create and co-facilitate really your life with your guidance and with the angels and God and whatever, whatever that looks like for you. Ultimately, when I speak of my angels, when I speak of my higher self, it's all energy. There's no hierarchy of they're better than me, and I worship, and it's a little bit different than it's a lot different than religion, because I'm actually in the driver's seat. And I feel like that's been a big part of, for me personally, and the feedback that I get from the people I work with or just come in contact with is, being in a specific religion, although there's absolutely some benefits and some good message and scriptures to go along with life and that guidance, there was a part of there was a big part missing from them. And that sacrifice per se of, if I do this, I will be connected with that God, whoever that God would be. And for me personally, I look at it as we are co-facilitating. Energies are all around us. So when I think of God, it's a divine energy of love and compassion and acceptance. So when you tap into that frequency of love and forgiveness and curiosity, and again, the compassion is a big one. Love will the heart chakra will just rule the world. That is a God frequency to me. To me, that's God. And I call it divine. I call it higher self. It's all frequencies, and we get to tap into that. We get to view the lens, the world, put our lens on and view the world without judgment and without resentment, without rage, without division. So I'm divided. This is my view and this is your view, although that again is godlike as well, high frequency as well. The only difference is, in my belief, is I'm allowed to have a different opinion. I'm allowed to share different beliefs and worldviews, because that's what this is about. But the difference is, I'm not trying to change the other person's mind or judging them or wanting to remove myself from them if they just have an opinion. It's different if they're being verbally or physically, abusive towards you because you have a different opinion, or you're on the left and they're on the right in terms of politics, or this is your religion and that's my religion. That's all division. These are actually all distractions that have been going on for literally thousands of years here. And when I say, my purpose in this lifetime, because, I do believe in that our energies are souls, and we get to play in the quantum field of it all, not just Earth, right? And my mission, my purpose in this lifetime is to really help you remember the beautiful power that you have within, that no God is going to do it for you. No figure is going to do it for you. But it's a co-creation. So it's a dance between me and my guides. It's a dance between me and these energies. And I get for me, the way I receive is through visual and through sensation. So a lot of tingling, lots of tingling, hand tingling, when you get the goosebumps or what have you. And I also receive like audio. And the only way I can explain it for those of you that that have not quite played in this field yet is like you're listening to an audio. I got my earbuds in and it's not intentional. It's just a drop in and I'm hearing it in the background and it comes in the form of sentences or a couple words, like a short sentence or a word. Like, for example, the talk 10 for 30. And I'm like, what the hell's a talk 10 for 30? And then when I chime in, then I'll get the rest of the download. That's how I communicate with them. When I was younger, as I spoke of before, I was a lot of visual. There was a lot of feeling. It was very dense because of the environments that I grew up in. Some of them, not all of them. By all means, I make it sound like I had a beautiful grandmother that took very good care of me, but she had a very active household as well with all these energies. And I do feel because she's such a light. This is my dad's mom. She's such a light that these energies would come to her because she prays and she speaks to her God, and she grew up in the Catholic religion. So, she's got that healing presence, that nurture, the feminine divine, the divine feminine. So, but very visual. So I had to close that down, shut that down. And so my angels came on board and shut that down for many years. But this is what I'm here for, is to help you remember that everything that you're going through right now, the relationships, the parents, the upbringing, the jobs, the abuse, the good, the beautiful things that you have experienced, this is all for you. It's all for you. It's all for your soul. Okay. And I piggybacked my history, like I said, my skill per se in the human form is behavior. And so I understand psychology and I understand the psycho the psycho part of this, but there's that spiritual part that was missing. And this is a perfect time for where I step in on a more grander scheme. So I've been in the field for many years, helping, and absolutely I gained much skills, lots of knowledge. I'm a little bookworm. I like to look at everything. I very much grew up with a strong opinion of things. And when we grow up with a strong opinion, a lot of times that comes in the form of a mask. Nothing's wrong, everything's good. And as I kind of folded into this, touching back into the spirituality of things, the energies, and really tapping into why is this happening? Like, what is the point of this? And I feel a lot of people are doing this. I know a lot of people are doing this right now. Is why am I going through this? Like, it's so dense. It's just so dense. And it's the time now is the time to start looking within yourself. And that's where I come in, that psycho-spiritual approach. That's where I come in to really educate, set the stage, and trigger this belief system in you. And when I do these lives, I'm very quick to call upon, my higher power, because I haven't, the human part, the intellect part of me, which has served such a great value in my life. Thank God for it. Thank God for it, because I looked up there. It's just the habit, right? This is God for me. Connecting with me and that intuition. But the intellect part of me is organized and knowledgeable, and I like to have proof, and I like to know my data, and I like to share information, and that has absolute value in it. But there's both in this field, which we were very much disconnected from. Like, if you think back, if you really look at your history, if they even teach it in the history books, because a lot of it's taken out because they don't want us to know about how amazingly powerful we are, because there's no benefit in that. They can't make money off of that. Big pharma can't make money off it if you're healing yourself. All right, the politicians on the left and the right are not going to be able to run their campaigns and run the world if we are the ones saying, well, actually, I can make my own rules and my own choice because I come from a place of love, and I respect my neighbor, and I respect the collective and the human, because I am conscious. And this is this raising consciousness. I am conscious that what I say, do, feel, and what my obligation is in this lifetime is to love the soul, love the human. And so they don't want us to be going into this quantum healing and the alternative medicines. They don't want that, because, there's a lot of money to be made off people, unfortunately, that are not well physically and mentally. And so back in like the 1700s, religion in itself was really tampered with, and that belief of religion, right? And what we are looking to, and there was a lot of sacrifice. Our children were sacrificed, unfortunately. And so, but we lived in fear. It was a fear. The collective, the world conscious was based on fear. It was a low vibration. It was a low frequency. But when things really get thrown at us as a spirit, and our higher self kind of chimes on, because the higher self doesn't have fear. Higher self doesn't acknowledge suffering and such. All it knows is love. All it knows, and even that, there's no language, right? It's just the feeling, the frequency. The human part of us have put these labels on everything. On everything. We put labels on everything. And what happens is, when we divide, the political system is completely divided. The medical system is completely divided. Religions are completely divided. Our schools are completely divided. Okay. And sure, you may come back and say, well, it's nice to have different opinions. See, the difference is when I gave the example earlier, I encourage everybody to speak their truth within their opinions. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's not what this is. But you tap into the frequency of the political world, our governments across the world, not just Canada here, across the world. You tap into the medical systems. You tap into all of the systems that are really, they're managing. These are the world managers. I talk about the managers within us and the internal managers. If you want to talk about the managers, education, everything. Our insurance companies, the governments, everything across the board, the medical field, these systems have been in place for quite some time here. I'm okay with different opinions. I encourage a great conversation with knowledge, intelligence. But what we forgot, what we've been missing, is the part where the frequency, it comes with wanting to change that. Everybody wants to be the same. And I feel like that's you're either left or right. You can't be both. That's the first, excuse my language, that's the first fuck up. It's embarrassing. It's totally embarrassing what has happened here. And we're completely divided. We're divided. and what humanity is going towards and what I'm here for. I am not left, I am not right, I am not up, I am not down. I will play in all of it in terms of I have knowledge of all of it because I enjoy different opinions. I enjoy different insights. But what happens when it comes with the frequency of wanting to cause war, you're better than me, there's judgment, there's shame, you bring it into your kids. This is right and this is wrong. Believe this and believe that. This is the right treatment, medical treatment. This is not. And the reasons why. I agree with saying, I am not for this medical treatment. I say no to this. And then for the ones that believe that it's beneficial for them, I embrace that and I respect that. There was a time, and it's definitely, I've worked on it becoming neutral, right? Because I judged and I shamed and I actually tried to put people in my belief systems. And I'm sure you've done this as well. But what happens is it actually causes more division because it comes with a feeling of judgment, and it comes with a feeling of your way is right and what my way is wrong. That's the trick. That's perfect. Like they did it. They up here. Remember all that. It's perfect. They did it. It's brilliant. You know how much money and power that they have at these levels, and we are supporting it. They make us they trick us to think that we're in charge and we elect, and we know, it doesn't, it's just we see what's happened here, and there was, like I said, there was a time that there was anger, resentment, and you might be going through this as well right now as this story kind of unfolds, this evolution of the human consciousness, this world is unfolding. We're seeing a shift here. But what the trick is as well is if we sit in a frequency of resentment, if we sit in a frequency of judgment and how dare they, that's another trick. That's another distraction. Again, they're like perfect. They're sick. I'm talking about what they talk around the tables, when they're making their money, and it's out in the open now. I don't have to hide anything at this point. You look around, do your own homework, and I can appreciate why they would. I hold space. There was a time that I didn't hold space for it, and I said, burn them all per se, but it was the stages of grief here. I felt duped. Right. And a lot of the collective is going through that right now. But once we are aware, and that's when I say there's a raise of consciousness, once we are aware of everything in our life, it's not good or bad. I understand this now. Okay. But it took me a couple of years because I had to go through it. I wouldn't be where I am at today. And many people wouldn't be where they are at today if they didn't go through the grief, if they didn't go through the confusion, if they didn't go through the curiosity and playing in the information. And then when you have your guidance on your side prompting you to look here, look there, look there, and then eventually what will happen, and this has happened to me, and I hear this across the board, is it eventually says, okay, that's enough. You don't need to know, and you know enough. But you're aware without judgment. So when I have friends and family and clients and colleagues coming in and saying this, that, and the other, I hold space for that. I show compassion and I show love. Through my modeling, through Turn Leaf, and through what I model, and through the understanding of, I understand why you have chosen this instead of this, and why you are choosing to be here mentally, emotionally, or in your religion or medically, whatever that looks like. It doesn't matter. The point of the matter is everybody's going through their own experiences. Everybody. And when we start holding consciously a frequency of compassion and a frequency of even just wanting to listen to what they've been through or why they've chosen this, without, because the label's going to come up as I believe in this, or I've done this, or I chose to do this because of this, and they have all the lists of reasons that they do, and you can feel that they are passionate about it, but it's completely opposite of yours. You come from a place of love. You don't want them to get hurt because you see your conscious is aware of the bigger picture, but they've got to go through it. Go through, not around, not avoid. That's how this works. And then when you can really kind of stir up the circus, the whole shitstorm circus here, this thing called life, and you may have even heard terms of the third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, and up. We're heading into the fifth dimension, the frequency of fifth dimension, okay? Third dimension is quite dense. There's duality. There is, the motivation is around materialistic gain. You hold value on the things that you wear, the house that you have, the jobs that you have, the identities that you show up with is really outside of yourself. You're not really connected to internally in your intuition. You don't really tap into that. You're very much it's me versus them. It's polarity. And there's nothing wrong with it. We had to go through it. And as we kind of raise in this consciousness, we start going within. And if you go back to this is the 8th episode of Tough Talks. If you go back to the first, even the last couple episodes, going through these parts of you, once you literally turn off the noise and the distractions of everything around you, including what is going on in the world, turning it down. I'm not saying turning it off. Awareness is important. But when we embed ourselves in the frequency of hate because of the war, or resentment because of the last few years and the choices that were imposed on us, we didn't get a say over that. All right, that we get sick, and then we create more of it. Because what we're focusing on, and even when your algorithm, even with social media, you're looking at all that stuff is just more and more and more and more, and it's going into the subconscious. And if you've come from a place of trauma, the world is kind of being re-traumatized on a collective basis at this point. So your fight, flight, or freeze is going to feel really unsafe within the last few years and what is to come. All right. And when we can tap into ourselves, put ourselves first priority, tell ourselves that we are, if some of us think of our crystals, for example, they're very connected with the energies of the crystals. I know I am, but I also dibble daddle in everything. I am not biased. Give me information, and whatever works for me at the time is where I'm meant to be. But once we are able to turn the lens inwards and say, okay, I'm going to stop. I notice I'm really, there's a lot of animosity with my partner and my kids and work. And I'm not well. I don't feel well. I'm tired all the time. I'm not eating well. I don't have any motivation. If you haven't had a moment to really sit with yourself and say, okay, what do I need through meditation, quieting that central nervous system, quieting the beliefs that ego has been very loud in many of us across the board within the last few years, especially this year as well, because everything's kind of being rattled and shaken up and we're confused. We're like, I don't know where I belong anymore. You know, I don't know anymore what this is all about, you know? And then when you tap into that curiosity and just tell fear to just take a seat for a second, you're able to then open up to a complete different dimension of, again, co-creating with these energies. So if you have your energies in your crystals, you have your energies in your angels, your guides, nature, I mean, Gaia, Mother Earth, the stars, the moon, everything. You tap into that and say, ask for, some support here, some energetic support. You're in that equation. It's not scripture or religion or a godly figure saying this is what you need to do. It's, okay, I'm going to tap into, for me, I just explained to you how I receive my guidance, my magic per se. I follow a beautiful soul. His name is Lee Harris, I believe. And he's a channeler as well. And on a different level, but he explains this quite nice. So if you haven't tapped into Lee Harris's work, it's quite beautiful the way he explains it. He's been doing this for like 30 years. He's been brave enough to really set the stage for this belief system in general, but he explains it a lot like this as well. Is we are part of it, and some of us tap into our magic. He calls it magic. That's why I was triggered to say his name. That magic per se. This magic was completely suppressed. It was taken away from us. We were judged. We were shunned. We were put away. Like, hell no. You're not going to be chit-chatting with. It was diagnosed, medicated, and literally caged. And so we're getting out of that, though. There's been a big shift even with that era of psychiatric hospitals and stuff, and that's part of it. We're evolving, we're ascending. But some tap into, with their crystals and being able to get, feelings of this feels good or this doesn't feel good. So if you have a scenario, for example, and you kind of tap into yourself and say, I wonder if this is the right choice, because our ego gets in the way to say, no, don't do that because you may be judged. You like, watch what they think of you. That's ego. When your higher self comes in and when this beautiful divine energy comes in, you'll be able to get an automatic knowing. It's an automatic knowing and confidence that this is where I'm going to go. This is my passion. I'm going to quit my job over here. And I don't know how this is going to work out over here. But when I tap into my intuition, and as I have been tapping into my intuition, I know that I need to go over here. It's an unknown energy. I am very attracted to the unknown energies. And when you tap into that, quitting your job, leaving your marriages, there's a big shift there. There's a big shift there. Moving locations, these are big changes, very big changes. And so we have to, what we're starting to do now is we don't have to necessarily make sense of it. That's where we're going. That's that fifth dimension per se. And again, I don't like labels, but we're human. We're in the human form. Okay. So that's how we communicate. All right. And so when we're able to get a scenario like a job, like a marriage. And you can really tap into that and say, tell me what I should do. This is what I'm coming. You will get the answers. You will get the knowing, and you will be guided. It's co-facilitated though. It's not going to come in and say, if you don't do this, you won't get this. If you don't sacrifice this, then you're not going to experience this. That's again, that's the trick. I don't resonate with that. I don't. And as we ascend, that's the fear base. That's a lot of these religions today, that have been playing out for years and years and years. That this is what it's about. It's a fear frequency. It's a lack frequency, and it distracts you from going within to say, oh, okay, you know what? Like, this doesn't feel very good. And it's constantly not feeling good. It's a difference between, and I speak about this as well, difference between you going in and out of feelings. Okay, today I'm tired, I'm unmotivated, I'm feeling a little bit anxious today. Sitting with that and saying, okay, what do you need to tell me? Loving yourself through it instead of judging it. But when you continuously sit in these environments with your partners, with your kids, in your job, no matter, where you live, could be very dense. So if you want to exit that reality, you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to, and that's what I'm here for, is to remember you don't have to do it on your own. Being able to sit with a frequency no matter what it is, even if you haven't done this at all before. Like, I'm not a religious person, Melissa. I totally don't even, it's like, that's the belief that I'm talking about religion. I'm not talking about religion. I'm actually talking about completely stripping everything away, setting aside, not even away. I don't like to say away. It's never gone. It's aside. And then being able to make decisions and life choices based on your intuition, not what anybody else is telling you what to do. That's the difference here. And we all of us have this ability, and it's going back to remembering what we can do. And then your life changes once we get on board with that. And a lot of times, like, even for myself, I'm like, oh, am I doing it wrong? Am I doing it right? Like, oh God, like, it's just taking forever. That's a lack mentality. That's the ego coming in to judge and say, hey, you've been really doing a lot of things different these days, and I'm not comfortable with this. I don't judge the ego. I actually sit with the ego and say, I understand why you're coming in. I understand why you're protecting me, because I'm doing this a little bit different than I've ever done it. And it kind of shakes up that subconscious that's literally driving the vessel. And so you have this ability as well, which is the beautiful thing about it. It's not, it's a journey that looks like this. But once you start it, there's no turning back. Once you connect with yourself and you realize, like, oh my God, I've been saying and doing and behaving in a way in these relationships, at my job, whatever that looks like, and you get to bring it onto yourself and show love for yourself. And then if it's a colleague or your husband or wife or what have you, a relative, a friend, you be able to say, wow, this has nothing to do with them. I actually tapped into myself and realized where this is coming from, what program this is. You're literally going to feel, it's a feeling, not a thinking. It's a feeling that comes in, and it just clicks. And you get lots of clicks as you start. You get lots of clicks. And there's some days that, I've shared this before, I'm on my knees. I'm on my knees because I'm shedding. I'm shedding, and healing. And I'm able to speak about my past traumas and bring them up and give them examples. Because I've looked at them, I understand them, I have a different relationship with them, and I have a different relationship. I see it on a higher level, a spiritual level. It is the souls that put harm on me. I hold compassion for them because of what they've been through. Once you start farting around like that and really looking at how beautiful your abilities are, and this thing called intuition, or your conscious compass is the term I use through Turnleaf, is gauging your conscious awareness. That awareness, you are aware of everything that's going on around you, and you're able to sit in it. You're able to sit in it. And if feelings of anger and resentment and rage come up, it's your opportunity to nurture that part of you. That's your gift. Okay? And not having the understanding that I'm going to fix everything outside me. You fix it with you first. You heal it with you first. You let go of all of the lifetimes, even, because this is a little bit more of a quantum talk here, which is great. I love it. You go into the lifetimes because we forgot that we had these abilities to go in and heal ourselves mentally and physically. Okay. And the ones around us as well. It's very powerful when you have a belief. It's energetic. They've measured this. They've studied this. You can see the colors. You can see the vibrations. There is a vibration, a color, and a hurt for love. There's a vibration, a color, and a hurt, a frequency for anger and rage. All these emotions. I have an emotional compass scale as well that I created through Turnleaf. There's colors. They've been measured. There is data out there, which is so beautiful. Because we want data. Our brain, our human part wants that data, that proof, right? But even that, we're all going to the same place, in my world anyways, and in yours. It eventually we don't need our political systems. We don't need our education system. We don't need any, because we have it all within us to show that love, that compassion. So we're not harming ourselves and others. We are not stealing and taking, so we don't need laws. We see a human, a soul in suffering, and we give and we help and we offer without judging, without criticizing. And I very much work in this field that my clients are criticized and judged, and they're ashamed of that, and there's a million excuses as to why they should be doing this and should be doing that. It's like, if you are judging, this is coming up for me right now, if you are judging within your friends and your circles here, and you are judging others, you're gossiping about others, automatically that has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with you. All right. And I send that with all love. I've gossiped. I'm not big on it though. I'm really not. It's a frequency. My higher self literally comes in, and I've always been like this, more now, but I'm not saying I haven't gossiped. I'm not saying absolutely not. I mean, I'm living the human experience here. So, but even in little school, when and I've always been fortunate to have, a good amount of friends and a variety of friends, but, they chit chat and gossip because they're learning about themselves and comparing and blah, blah, blah. And I would really stand up to the ones that were not sharing that love and that just understanding, or even just remaining neutral, not saying anything. I would speak up. I would speak up for the ones that were getting picked on. And I didn't understand it then, but I understand it now. It's because my soul, it's my spirit in me, that I don't. There's a part of me, especially professionally, that I care about what people think. It's getting a little less loud, it's getting a little less loud. But when it came to people bullying people in front of me or gossiping even in my friends group or something, it's like, it doesn't sit well with me. So if you do notice yourself within your friends group, start even just with that. That's a tough one because we're connected in those conversations. Like, it's sweating. Do you see this? It's sweating. I'm in Northern Ontario here, and it's like plus 30, 33 out there. We're having a heat wave this week, and I have the AC on a little bit, but it's not enough because I like fresh air. I'm not big on AC. So I have the windows. It's just not enough right now. So just to comfortably sleep, I'm probably going to turn it up a little bit today. But you can see I probably got a little bit of sun. It's beautiful, but it's hot. Very, very hot. So I'm going to take a drink. Thank you. Excuse me. Oh. Yeah, so if you are just start with this and recognizing, because it's on a micro level. It's just the fibers in us. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I got it. I will never have it figured out. I will always be a student. But my ego comes in and says, damn, did I ever rock that? Did I ever rock that part? Or yes, I rocked this talk, or yes, blah, 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 or amazing session. But when I think that I've handled something, and last week I spoke about, my anger, and that comes from a place of rejection and not trusting the people around me when I was growing up. It's just, you don't even notice it because it's in the subconscious. You're doing it subconsciously. So that's why we got to show each other some love and some compassion here to say, shit, this is hard. Like, this is hard. I don't even realize I'm doing it half the time. But if you are in your groups and even the religious, you go to church, holy man, that's all they're doing is gossiping. It's like you're supposed to love. This is what we're taught, right? And then they're going out for coffee or they get their breakfast in the basement stuff and they're just chit-chatting about each other. And I've seen it. It's ongoing. So I'm going to encourage you when you're with your friends, family members, what have you. Are you gossiping? Are you talking and judging? Gossiping can mean multiple things, but it's a tone. There's judgment there. There's judgment there. And when we sit in that frequency of judgment, it doesn't feel good. I know it feels good in the moment because there's that connection with your friends or family members and you're like, yeah, we agree on this. And there's a moment there that feels good because we're connected. But it's the vibration of judgment. It's the vibration of you're doing it wrong. And I'm not saying what people do is pretty messed up on a human level. I totally get it. But if you can get to a place of where you focus on where you're putting your conversations, what you're talking about, that alone is going to get you up a couple notches in regards to consciousness. You're not better. I'm not better than anybody else. That's not what it means, because automatically you go to, oh, you're better than me because you don't gossip. Get over yourself. It's not what I mean. All right. I catch myself. So I'm like, oh, because the human part of me gets into that connection, right? And it doesn't feel good. And majority of the time what I do in these conversations is I actually say, you know what, like they've got their own shit as well, what they're doing or what they've said or what have you. No, it's not right. But I do hold compassion for the individuals because You want to tap into their upbringing. You want to tap into not even including their past lives. You want to tap, like, this was taken from us. We're dominantly a masculine frequency. The masculine frequency, and I'm not saying men, I'm talking about a frequency, not a gender. Okay, so don't get all hot and heavy with me here. Masculinity even in women, but the frequency of the earth for thousands of years here, thousands and thousands of years. If you really go back to even Age of Atlantis and all that stuff, like thousands of years, it is predominantly masculine energy, the divine masculine. And that came with a lot of closed heart, because the feminine is more of an open heart. Again, it's not female, it's the frequency. The gender of male comes in with a feminine frequency as well. My husband, I mean, he's got a very big heart. He also has the masculine in him as well. But that's taken some time. And there's actually there's big parts of, especially if you have a role, people are watching you, you have big responsibility. You come in with this persona of that masculine energy. And what happens is it presents itself in a hierarchy, and it gives the energy of, I'm up here, you're down there. There's violence. There is we have to have both. We have to have that yin and yang. But because we've been a predominant masculine, energetic, there's been a lead in that frequency in the collective for thousands and thousands of years. We've got some work to do internally. We have some work to do. And I'm going to go to the gender now. If you think about men, even in war and the last few hundred years here, holy shit, like you don't cry, you don't feel, you don't, like, I hold space for that. My heart is so open to these men that go to war. And they weren't allowed to, their heart was completely closed. And then we wonder why they don't treat their wives properly or they abuse their kids. Well, shit, man, look what we've been through. Look what the world has been through. We're not doing it just for us. When we do it for us, it actually emits a frequency. It's for the world. So we go into judgment quite quick. If you look at the masculine frequency, even within the last 50, 60, 70 years. I know from where I sit, a lot of the conversations I have professionally and personally is that their fathers were really closed off and extremely physically and emotionally abusive. And so we didn't feel safe, but they didn't know any better. The energy that they were raised with was of a very masculine, dominant frequency. All right. And so we're shifting that today. That's what we're doing today, is we are actually shifting out of the dominant frequency of masculinity dominating this world of division, because the masculine frequency promotes division, me versus them. If they don't agree with me, we're going to war. I mean, we see it, even with women, and I know I'm guilty of, and I'm not even guilty, I have taken on this frequency of the masculine as well, because the presence of it is more attractive per se. Strong woman. You can see it in our politics and these women they are brilliant. They're kicking ass, but they've had to actually turn off a little bit of their feminine. And so that's not doing them justice, because we're trying to align with the masculinity of our men. And that's what you've been seeing in the last 100 years. We're trying to we're trying to, one up each other, but we have to take on that masculinity. And what happens is we put aside, not leave, because it's always in us. Don't forget that. We have both masculine and feminine that we can tap into. But what happens is when women take on these roles, these masculine roles, because it's been dominantly a masculine driven society throughout the world, we forget. We forget our feminine side, our compassionate, loving side. We turn it off. And guess who gets to feel that? Our children. All right. And that's been happening, especially within the last 50 years, with the whole women's movement. And by all means, that's where it needed to happen. Everything that has happened needs to happen for this time. This time meaning coming back to self. The soul is finally coming back to self. And then, and then we get literally heaven on earth. Is there going to be days that are going to be absolutely, because we are still in a dimension, we're still human here. All right? But we're not going to be influenced by others' opinions or beliefs. We're not going to be influenced by the rules outside of ourselves. We are going to be aware of them, but ultimately we are going to be able to tap into ourselves, because the next couple of years, when I tap into my intuition, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to leave it at there because we only have a couple more minutes here. But the power, the ones that are in power, and there's a few families. Don't trick yourself. There are a few dominant families throughout that kind of have their seat at these tables across the board, across all of these managers, these world managers. Like I talked about the education system, the political system, the healthcare. It could go on and on and on and on. Pharmaceuticals. It's all that. There's a few pretty powerful families. When they come in and say, okay, we're doing this, we're doing that, this is the next one, this is the next one, this is fuck, pandemic after pandemic, after war, after war, after war. Eventually what's going to start to happen when people do start saying, wow, I actually get a choice here. I get a choice. Being aware of it, absolutely be aware of it, but then you're able to come back and sit down and say, no, I'm not doing that. And sure, you can have family members, and you've already seen this across the board with the last 3 years. You're judged because you're not doing something. You're judged because you're not isolating, or you're not getting the jab, or what have you. You're judged because of your belief system. Where we're going is, there's going to be these offers of treatments and of approaches that are this one caused a lot of harm, as we can see across the board. Okay, it'll continue. You're going to see within the next couple of years. It's just, but what I get to do, I can speak only for myself, is I get to look at the information, look at the approach, and not care about what anybody else is doing, saying, or taking. I get to say, you know what, I've sat with myself and I've got the information that I need, sat with myself, and I'm actually really not in agreement with it. I don't give consent with that. That's the beauty of this. And actually, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. My health is going to be okay because I take care of myself. I eat well. I drink a lot of water. I take vitamins. I get a lot of natural fresh air. I self-care. I calm myself. I'm not putting things in my body that are literally foreign to my body. And you're like, oh shit, I didn't know I can do that. And then this all falls apart. There's going to be things that happen within. You choose what you want to do, how you want to do it. But my number one message is always going to be, check in with yourself first. Get the information that you need, and then tap into your internal guidance, that conscious compass. Where am I going with this? And it's going to tell you. You're going to feel it. I hear it. I feel it. You may see it. It depends on what your magic is. Your crystals, you may hold on to whatever that looks like. The trees, the wind, it's a feeling. It's a feeling that you'll get. Say, you know what? And then you think about your kids and what they've, if we don't start standing up for it, what's going on with them? And I teach my kids, sit in your truth. I don't always agree with their choices, but this is part of it, is you have your information, you get to choose. Because you have your own soul. You have your own human body. This is your life. I may not agree with it, but it's your choice. You get to choose. We get to choose. I get to choose. And then the fear kind of quiets. The fear actually, because we're scared. We were scared for many, many. It's literally in our DNA to be scared. It's in our psychology to be scared. Our physiological bodies were friggin' scared. When you start to really play with this and get to trust yourself and your own intuition, fear gets to sit on the sidelines, and then your higher self, your higher guidance, you get to choose what you want to do. And if you want help with that, in regards to, exploring, helping you explore, going within, it's what I do. It's what I'm here for. All right. But I'm a minute over. I loved this talk. I really did. Really, really did. I'm hot though. I'm hot. I'm going to go. I have the window open a little. I can feel the air a little bit, but it's hot. I might go for a dip. I live on a lake. I might do it. I might take a break and do it because it's warm. So if you are in my area and are watching this, stay cool, stay hydrated. If you want to book an appointment with me on my Turnleaf Movement Facebook page, you can book right there. I'll get the notification, and I will see you next Thursday here at noon for Tough Talks. I love you so much. I'm sending all the love and all the light. Take care. Bye for now.